I have a neighbor who will give me a very hard time if I don't record this meeting.
Should we start again?
No.
We're fine.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Jim used to do a lot of that molding stuff.
He did.
In his own time, correct? And we
We
paid
paid
him.
him. Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, this is gonna be weekend time for
Okay,
for
okay.
Eddie. Yeah.
That's
Is
good.
this part of the building committee budget, or is
Yeah.
this a budgeted item?
Now, this is part of the building expense,
That'll be one of the things we talk about.
which we have far exceeded both the building expense and the reserve expense by jumping ahead with this stuff, but we're gonna be catching up.
Well, can the extra labor costs to do the cleaning in lieu of the painting, can that be charged to the reserve? Being that we've got.
Well, if we have room in the operating, I just assume keep it out of there because it's an operating expense versus, I mean, it's extending the life of the paint. Conversely, I think we still have some room. I think it's in the general operating. But yes, it could be reserved if you wanted to.
We have to review all the reserves and see the length of time and the current cost, because things go way up. They probably all need to be reviewed
Yeah,
now.
well, but Barbara's already proposed that we do some modification to the reserve
Good.
in the budget.
Don't forget to come to the meeting, those of you that want to, coming up.
Yeah.
17th, 10 o'clock,
It's Monday.
right here.
Carport ceilings?
What's a repair cent?
Pardon?
Chris, where did they go?
Chris, you're muted.
Somehow they dropped. Let me see what I can find out here. There we go.
Miscombobulated somewhere.
Okay.
Somewhere along, oh, yeah. Well, I combined some words on the carport ceiling. Repairs, period, the end. The ENT was supposed to go somewhere else. Sorry about that. Carport ceiling repairs are all done except the one in S, where they're still waiting for one piece of material, and then all carport ceilings have been repaired.
Since we don't have a carport, we don't use the carport. I walked through yesterday, stay out of the sun, and there is some damage at the carport in D.
There is?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look at it.
It's, like I said, I don't frequent the carport,
Mhm. But there's something hanging down.
well, it's dented and
Well, sometime we can just tack it up, so we'll take a look. But I'm talking about, we had
I
areas
know, I know.
of removal, yeah. So that's in pretty good shape.
Okay. Next, purchase of automatic pool spa chemical feeders.
I don't know if Tammy wants to address this or not.
Go ahead, because
Okay,
we had discussed it at the phone.
it's ridiculous. We've all seen the quote unquote joke that was sent back to us. I was hoping it was a joke. I called and both sent emails to the owner of Galaxy, but he's not responding again. So I guess it wasn't a joke. He must have been upset with the fact that we offered him a little bit less than he wanted us to pay for his equipment. So the pool committee is investigating, and Jackie and I are helping in that investigation of possibly additional source for this equipment just to verify Lowell's pricing. But the committee basically is on record to say move forward, at least request the board to move forward with the consideration of purchasing the equipment through Lowell, pending, maybe one more month of investigation.
You have a payback on that too, don't we? What,
Well,
5 years or something?
It's, we're paying $8,400 a year for the rental. We're looking at about 43.4, something of that nature at the most.
Like 5, 6.
Yeah, so about 6 years.
What about chemical supplies? Where do we get them?
We get them from the same company, and I'm looking elsewhere right now. Right now, they're their best pricing, but I am getting pricing from 2 other companies locally.
Does the new company that you're looking at sell?
No,
They're just
we're-
equipment?
no, what we're using the company that does all of our repairs, and we buy some chemicals from them because we've discovered that we can extend the life of chlorine by buying certain agents, and we buy that from them. But everything else, the chlorine in which we use probably about 800 gallons a month, and so on, comes from Galaxy. So I'm looking.
What, are we getting 3 quotes? Or how many quotes are we getting for new equipment?
For new equipment. We just got one from Lowe, 43,000. That's why we're looking to see if there's anyplace else. Okay.
It's a 1.5 million.
I'm just saying, do you know like other associations that have goals that they have, you know, what their vendors are? Or-
I don't know that much about. I mean, I know what the equipment is. It's been extendedly used by many people. Lowell puts it in. Probably any licensed pool contractor can put it in. But what we're doing here at Lowell's price is the installation, a year's service, and that nature. It'll be up to the board to make the final decision.
Yeah, I thought we needed 3 bids or
Isn't-
or whatever we can get.
Sometime when there's a sole provider,
So provider, okay.
you can go, you know. Best, you know, the best deal would be to buy it for 5,000, 15,000 and put 5,000 into it, and it's half the price and go from it, but he's not interested. We still have the option of going back and hat in hand, say, well, we'll give you the 22,000 and put 5,000 in it, and it would be 27,000, and we would still saving, so that's still an option.
But we would then still have to pay them rent every month.
No.
right?
No.
Oh, no.
No,
Why-
once we buy the
Okay.
equipment.
Why isn't that a serious option then, if it's a lot less money?
Well, it
Because-
depends on, some of this equipment's 10 years old.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's always been the option.
Yeah.
You've asked me to negotiate. Obviously, is not interested in negotiation. If we want to, because we valued the equipment. We had, Lowell came out and we valued the equipment. He's another provider. And we assessed it at probably $10,000 to $11,000, $12,000 max.
Mhm.
So we said, well, all right, we'll give him and he wants 22. We said, all right, let's start at 15. Well, he just broke all communication when we went to 15.
What's the life of brand new equipment then?
Some of it is probably 8 to 10 years old. I mean, we're gonna get many, many years out of
But
whatever
if we buy new, like what's?
if we
the
buy
life
new,
of
well,
that?
we got a year's warranty, but we could be getting 10, 12 years out of some of it. It's, you know, some of the equipment in there is original now, and it's before me.
Mhm.
So some of it's 11, 12 years old.
A nice return.
You know, I don't like spending extra money, but I also don't like it when somebody who thinks he's got a monopoly on a market
Right.
acts like this guy did.
Yeah.
I really,
Current equipment is old.
It's irritating.
what's more than irritating,
Well,
I
yeah.
think it's,
And they want us to
I
do
think it's-
22.
Should we go back at 17 and just see if he responds?
Listen, I'm happy to do anything you want,
I don't know.
but we can.
Yeah, I mean, that 1.5 million was obviously a slap in our face.
Yeah.
And
Very rude.
Tried so often trying to talk to him, the guy is not even responding.
I've sent him countless emails. I've called him.
That was all based on the 15.
No, I hadn't even
No.
offered. He never called me back, and so finally I put it in writing.
Yeah.
To try to get him to respond, and that was his response when I looked at writing.
You still alive?
Why would we want to do business with that then?
yeah, that's just what I'm saying,
Yeah.
because you can't count on somebody like that in future for things that you might need. now I don't trust them at all.
Well, we don't need him in the future because we can buy it
I
elsewhere.
understand, but
I mean, I'm just saying that there is an option. We could go to 22 and spend
I
another
know.
5
But
and spend 27 versus 43.
if the life of equipment is 10, 12 years.
Or more.
I'm all for getting brand new and starting from scratch.
Tammy, did you guys look at it as a committee, as a package? Did you go forward with it? Did you do any runouts of payback, et cetera? Are we going
We
out?
did that last August
Yeah.
when we first initiated all of this, when it was brought to our attention.
Are we going out as a package? We've got this much chemistry that we're going to be using. We're gonna buy new equipment when we go out for those bids so that we don't have to perhaps get in that vindictive process. If we're buying 800 gallons from wherever this guy is, and we take everything but the 800 gallons away, it could be our price is going very fast. I would think.
Well,
Two things, right? The equipment and the chemicals.
I don't know anything more about it than that, John. But I-
oh, no, what I'm saying is if we're certainly going to stay competitive in buying chemicals. And if we can't stay competitive in buying chemicals, there's no reason to leave him.
Yep.
Despite our face, other than the fact that, we took all the service away from him because it would take 4 to 5 to 6 days to respond to a service call on anything, even this equipment. And so we gave it to Lowell, and now you get 1 or 2 days service, and we've had excellent service from Tools by Lowell for
Sounds like we
8, 9 years.
got some answers there.
Yeah.
Don't we?
I mean, and they weren't happy when they lost all of our service, but they weren't. They're capable of doing it. Their response time was not in our favor.
They're gonna lose another $8,400 a year.
Well, you know what, when they think they're the only game in town, you can
Yeah.
show
And
them.
they're our budget for chemicals is over $20,000 a year. So
Somebody also get-
hopefully there's got to be somebody else we can find it from.
Sure.
What area is that going to come from in our budget? Do we have?
Well, it would come from
reserve
reserves.
possibility?
It would come from, we could say, from a nice interest earn.
It's available.
If it's available.
Yeah.
I mean, theoretically, you could use that.
Yeah, we just took it.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's various options, but we are collecting money for pool renovations. And, and so we could write a check tomorrow for that. And then pay back over a period of time, or you're getting money from interest, you could earmark that into the pool reserves and use that.
Okay, so we've got some options without having to
Yeah.
create new options.
I would say that next month, I mean, we're still gonna pay another 700 while we're doing it. But next month, we ought to make a firm decision.
Yes. It's almost a year now. We've been messing with it.
When you call for service, if you call them for service, who answers the phone?
As a gentleman answers the phone.
And he has no responsibility, no authority, no whatever.
He takes the call and says, we'll get there. Well, we don't call them for service anymore because they didn't
Yeah, I
respond.
get it. But I mean, if I were to pick up the phone and call him today,
Mhm.
this guy would answer the phone, and if I say I want to talk to the owner.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, sure. I'll take your name. Oh, is this John? Yeah. Okay. He knows me by name now. Yeah. And, and
He'll get back to you.
yeah. Yeah. Well, the owner's never in, quote unquote, at least for me.
Gotcha. Something doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
At 8,400 a year, it's like, come on. Treat your customers a little bit better than that,
It hurts their reputation for sure. I would think.
Yeah, and they're a viable company. They've been around a long time. I mean, I was in 1988. I was in the pool business, owned a company called Friendly Pool, and they were around then, so they've been around a long time.
Can we get it from Friendly Pool?
Friendly Pool hadn't done too well over
No.
the years. Thank God I got out of it.
They were too friendly.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, the two really star employees I had formed Pools by Lowell, and they've done very well in the marketplace here. And they're very good quality people.
They were well trained.
Yeah, I would like to think so.
Okay, so pretty much we're gonna make that decision next month? is
I
what
would
we're
say
saying?
so. Well, it's up to
I
y'all.
think we should. I think we should.
We don't want to wait too much longer, but we can make a decision Monday.
Well, did you have, I guess the only thing.
What are we gonna gain by waiting?
We're not.
No.
Things are gonna get more
Yeah, I'm
I'm
expensive.
sorry about
Yeah, we're gonna spend another
Yeah,
8,400.
yeah.
Were there other vendors? Are you waiting to hear back from other vendors, or are you still searching for other vendors?
But, it's
You
just-
found one, yeah.
Well, has that search
Tammy did some research and found the equipment price. What we're doing is trying to see if that is purchasing from another wholesaler. Okay? We're not finding anybody who's willing to come in and tear out and put in and be as competitive as Lowell. They don't have the right technicians, okay? They put it in maybe for 1 or 2, but not 6 or 7
Well,
pools.
so that you have to sell it then as a sole
Yeah,
source
yeah.
vendor.
Well, right now, there may be, but we are looking at other wholesalers, and we'd have to buy the equipment. Then Jackie would have to put it in because Lowell's not interested in doing that, so it's almost a single source.
I think that also puts us in the summer months rather than January, February, and March.
Yeah, we don't want to shut things down,
Get on it, right.
because this is not gonna, it's probably gonna be a 2-month, 3-month ordering and getting it in, installed and everything else. So it's, like you say, it's silly to wait.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta be ready by October 1st, or November 1st.
You would like to be. But I mean, it's always operable, I mean, this is stuff that you just take it out, put the other one in, take it out, put the other one in. We don't know exactly, I mean, it may take a week to do all 7 pools, I don't know. So we'll never be down.
Gotcha.
As long as we're recirculating, we won't be down.
Whether we wanna put it on the agenda for a vote?
If John's ready to take a
Well,
vote,
let's leave it on, and then if I can give you additional things by then
By then,
that you're
okay.
comfortable with, then we'll go with it, okay? All right. You can always just bypass it.
All right. Audit.
Okay, the audit's been, I guess, completed now. Barbara, you comfortable with it?
Yeah,
Okay,
Okay, let you know that.
did you get,
I didn't get the final version. Oh, was that the final version? I thought it was still his first
no,
draft.
he said it was the final with the modifications.
Okay, did you get a bound one?
Yeah, I don't have a bound one yet. He'll bind this, and he'll give one for every board member.
Okay.
So it's complete. We'll get it bound and delivered, okay?
The qualification was removed.
Yes.
And he fixed his write-up about the reserve page that he was originally writing that we were subject to the new rules for Florida statute that requiring all kinds of requirements to do with the reserves. And he changed all that back to all the original language he had last year, so that's,
So it's kind of a foo for all that I got done,
yes.
whatever a foo for all is.
I think our bookkeeper's a little bit more educated than.
Yeah, yes.
Electric car issues.
The only thing we can say right now is we're gonna do that experiment.
Yeah.
And see how that works. And if it works, then we got about 10 owners with electric cars now.
That's an interesting statistic. I wonder if we'll have 20 next year based on the logarithmic process.
But Tom, as you know, Tom Lee owns one and has done extensive studies and found that the 2% of the national motor pool is electric. And even though there's a heavy duty push for electric, the anticipation of total by 2035, I think it was.
Yeah, 2035.
2035 is still only going to be about 17%.
Wow.
But it could be 89% here or 89% in California. Who knows, where the requirements are. But the last figure was 2050 that I saw in that report. that it still is not gonna be 50%.
People can't afford it.
Yeah, that's it, the expense.
Yeah,
And the,
electricity.
here's the other
Yeah,
thing,
electricity.
the other average from that report is that the average salary of an electric car owner is $100,000 a year and more. So people are buying cars.
But because this is an older community, most people are in a fixed income. They can't afford it.
Well, everybody's got old cars that are lasting. Nobody's gonna go buy them now.
I know.
Well, that's it, and the age of the fleet, that was another thing in this report, the age of the fleet, people, used to be like 7 years, and now it's almost 11 years, people keeping their vehicles.
Nobody here drives that far anymore.
I drove to the office.
No, it's a good point, so, is this, did we jump out and Gus, I guess Gus have you talked to that company, Gus? That
Steve
comes
was
in?
going to.
Yeah,
I'm sorry?
no, I was going to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But,
I did, and then I gave the information to Steve.
All right, well, we're gonna look at it here, but, if we have 10 here and chances are having 12 or 16 or 20, do you still go and here's the issue in talking to the owners of electric cars. It's so easy now as they plug it in their front of their house, in the front of their unit. Why should they go down to the office here or anywhere else to plug in and pay when they could put it on their own electric right then and there? And so, the thought about putting in stations is kind of somewhat obviated by the fact that people won't use them. So they've told me.
It's a matter of education. We should be educating on a regular basis as this thing moves forward, so we know what's going on. That's really what it is.
Well, we need to get all the.
Because it's gonna evolve to things that we have never thought of.
Sure.
Because you don't know where utilities are going, right? If as long as they're using mostly fossil fuels, which is the whole point of getting rid of your gas out of your car and going to electric. Well, that's all coming from a power plant.
Yeah,
That might
that's
be using fossil fuels as
probably
opposed
is.
to wind or nuclear or nuclear.
Well,
It's
now-
not any better.
We don't know what breakthroughs there may or may not be. We just don't know it. Nobody knows, really.
Yeah.
We're just
We'll be
guessing. This
dead.
whole report thing is a guess.
Yeah, it's an estimate. Yeah, right.
We will all probably be dead by that time because.
Well, we probably will. It's not gonna be my problem.
The utilities are a powerful lobby, so the more you.
You know what?
have
Yeah.
But
electric.
people also, they're not going to be swayed by lobbies that when they can't afford what they're asking for these things, and they're not going to do it. And when you can go 300 miles in the thing, you can't take this thing cross-country.
Right.
You can't take it north from
Right.
here.
The infrastructure's not there to really
Yeah.
support
Well,
that.
and if they find a place to charge it, they're waiting 45 minutes to an hour to get in line and that's another
That's
45
all gonna
minutes.
change, and that's gonna
Well,
change.
good luck with that.
That's gonna
Yeah.
change rapidly.
I don't think
Because
so.
the manufacturers of the cars need that to happen.
Have you
before they
seen
can
what's
go
happening to the manufacturers of these cars? They're losing money left and right.
sell. Sure they
Ford,
are, but it doesn't matter. Amazon lost money for how many years? I mean,
Bezos is still.
it's gonna happen. We just have to, we don't know how or when. That's all. We just have to stay in front of it.
By the way, today's Amazon Prime Day. Tomorrow.
Right.
Well, I would not favor putting in stations around. I don't think it'd see it any different than I do gasoline. We didn't put in gas stations for people to come to purchase. I think it's an individual thing, and if they're gonna buy a car, then they have to connect to their own unit rather than the association. Putting stations around. It costs us money, and we'll be picking up all the headaches. It's just my feeling.
Right. And my question, going even further than that, is, okay, when they're plugging into their unit, that's sucking energy. And I already see at 6:30 in the morning when people are, turning on their lights and their coffee pots and everything. My UPS units on my TV and my computers are clicking on and off and on and off. We have brown energy as is here. Will our infrastructure, do you have UPS on your computers?
What do you mean ups? A UPS backup system?
A backup system. Do you have backup systems?
No.
Okay, when I have backup systems on my televisions and on my computers, And when the energy or the electricity goes low, they automatically kick on so that I don't fry my computers, okay? Because of your waves. Those the wave surges are what damages your electronics on your wash machines, your dishwashers, and your computers. So I have external power packs on them. Well, when I have my computer on at 6 o'clock in the morning and 6:30, 7 o'clock, you can hear them clicking on and off, on and off. That means there's power surges, and that's what is damaging.
Are you sure that's
to-
not just the UPS pack,
Yeah.
storing the energy?
No, it's not, because I have 180 minutes on each one of them. I have big ones, I don't have small ones. Okay, so if you're plugging, my question is if you are plugging in cars and you're sucking more energy off of our grids, are you slowly damaging our power supply here?
The answer to that is probably yes, and that would be the responsibility of the electric company to come in and to increase the capacity of the equipment. I'm sure you're right. You can't draw more without having an effect. But isn't it true, John, that we have a certain capacity and that they would have to come and increase? Okay.
Well, an air conditioner takes more juice than the car would.
Yeah.
But if you have, okay, yeah, we only have 10 now, but next year if we have 12, if we just keep sucking more and more, plugging more energy in, or the ones that want the superchargers, if they say, oh, well, we can just plug it into our house, it is sucking more energy.
All the more reason to stay in front of this and keep getting educated.
Right.
And make sure that we follow through with the FPL, et cetera, in regards to.
And keeping
providing
our
us with
insurance
buffer
up so that our infrastructure and our buildings are protected.
I got a message the other day, I can't remember who sent it to me, about the power or the fear of fire, et cetera, with these new batteries and stuff. Look, guys, every car we've got sitting out there is a napalm bomb. It can go off just as bad as any of the other ones.
You can put out a gasoline fire easily. You cannot. It takes up to 40,000 gallons of water to put out a lithium battery fire,
I'm sure that would be a
and they
horrendous-
reignite.
I understand, and it could be a terrible thing, but we're looking at a spit in the ocean in regards to our present situation.
Not if you count the bikes.
Well, true, but take a look at them all, the whole gambit. And if there's 1 out of 10,000 or 20,000, the chances of us having anything happen here is a long time coming. And I don't disagree with you, but I think it's just like the cars that we have out there. I don't think there would be any greater chance of that happening in our community than we would have with a car fire.
Well, John, that legal thing that you sent out to us, the new statutes, it mentioned insurance, extra insurance for electric vehicles, bikes, cars,
Excellent.
scooters.
Yeah.
Why is the state adding statutes to cover that if it's not a clear and present danger?
I think, again, it may be just what we talked about here. We got to look to the future, et cetera. I don't know if we have an issue today, but I certainly think there could be one if we have 400 cars in here or something like that. But
John, when did you say you were doing the guinea pig installation onto the sidewalk?
We're trying to do it this week.
Oh, okay.
Is that fellow still plugging in his car at this point? The last meeting that I was here, he had a gentleman who was plugging his vehicle in and running a cord across the sidewalk.
And putting a rug over it,
Yeah.
and now we put a pylon with it.
Are we potentially subject to any problems if somebody falls?
Well, that's the people who are complaining about it say we are, and I'm not saying we aren't. I mean, if somebody comes along and trips over that rug,
But that's what we're going to try this thing.
that's why we're trying to get rid of it.
Until this, the quicker we get this under control, until he must do this, we would take ourselves away from any potential liability.
Well, here's the case. We didn't put the power cord out there. We didn't put the rug out there. Where we're being challenged is that people are saying, well, you let them do it, so therefore but this is kind of a tertiary way to come at us. I would think that the owner would have more responsibility by putting that impediment out there than we would. But
And why would they bring an electric car here when there's no mechanism yet to
Bingo.
charge it?
well,
So.
yeah,
Well, I guess my next question then would be that once we provide this procedure,
Yeah,
we can require him to do this.
right, that's,
Okay.
but
I mean, 'cause
we
I think we have to
have
get
that.
out of
Yeah.
we have to get out of the potential liability on this as soon as we can.
The whole thing is we're doing this as an experiment. If
Yeah.
it works and we think it should, then everybody else was going to have to do it at their expense because of the safety factor, insurance factor, and everything else. But if we do it and it doesn't work, we can't charge you somebody else. But I mean, so it's got to be big enough. It's got to be a 6-inch. You know, it's not going to be just a little thing like we thought it could be in the beginning. It has to be big enough to get that head through.
Do we have the location where we're testing it?
Yeah,
Mhm.
525, I think it is, or 527, whatever it is, wherever they're 25.
I think
And I've
this-
talked to him, and he's very receptive, and you know,
I think this is a great example of what we've been talking about here, and that's pre-planning. This is phase one. It may be entirely more elaborate than that in 2 years or 20 years, but the point is, we started somewhere rather than waiting for the liability claim being put on us because we didn't do anything about it, so. Good.
try it and see how it comes. Okay, palm tree trimming process.
Tiffany has asked to have this put on the agenda to slightly modify the directions to the tree trimming company to include canary and or date palms into the 9 to 3 versus 10 to 2.
Mhm.
So it's just going to be a matter of the vote of the board accepting that change to the direction.
And I can give a quick explanation. I was really glad that we all unanimously agreed to the motion that was presented at the last board meeting. But after meeting with the landscape committee, they all unanimously agreed that they wanted this presented to the board. And I have the approval of the chair, Pete Barron, to present this to the board today, that just with this one modification, and actually if you'll pass this to Pam, I wrote down the language.
Well, that'll be for Monday.
Yeah,
Monday.
but at least you'll have it. To include the date palms with the sable palms, and that's because, well, there's 3 different kinds of date palms that we have on the community, but we have a lot of Canary Island date palms, and they're having some health trouble right now with potassium deficiencies. And so over the last year, we've been watching them from when we were doing the slimmer cut to the 9 to 3 cut. And we found that the leaves have been significantly greener for longer with the fuller cut. And we're hoping that with some additional fertilizers, we can kind of kick up their health a little bit better so that they're more full and green for everyone and have a longer lifespan. Because unfortunately, potassium deficiencies are fatal for palms, even if it is kind of slow and over time. So we want to try to keep them around for very long. And the Canary Island date palms specifically are actually a very valuable part of the community. Just as an exercise, we had looked to see how much replacement cost would be, just so that we know how to value the assets. And one's replacements at the size that we have would be about $5,500 a tree. And just as an exercise, there's 14 Canary Island date palms lining the boulevard from going down to Woodlawn and Lakeside, down at the south end of the community. And just, for a what if scenario, replacing that batch of Canary Islands would be about $77,000. I'm not saying that we would ever do that. We would probably just
They've
cut
been here
them
for
down
40
and do
years.
something else. But just so that we have value for the assets.
But they're
so
not a big
that
part of the aesthetics
They
when
are
you drive
for sure.
down
That
Wildwood
is
Street.
They've been there
Right,
They're
right.
beautiful.
45 years.
Yeah, they're so mature and beautiful. But just so that we understand the value of the asset that we're trying to care for and why it's important that we care for them as well as we can. So anyways, we would like to propose that the motion be changed slightly from the motion that was presented at the last meeting, which was to recommend that Sable Palms be trimmed 9 to 3 and all others 10 to 2, and change it to Sable and Date Palms 9 to 3 and everything else 10 to 2. So just moving that one species over in hopes that we'll be able to turn around their health concerns.
Well, for going with the safety issue, the date palms aren't those big, huge fronds
Right.
that could cause major injury.
Right,
They
they're
are-
Those are
they're
the
pretty
royals.
light.
I know, the
Well,
royals and the
Yeah, those
queens,
are
yeah.
royals.
yeah,
Royals
Okay,
and
just
queens.
want
Really
to
tall,
make sure for that.
yeah, no, that's a really good point. That
We just had a queen totally fall down.
Oh, no.
All the limbs,
the
they
whole
were
thing
all
died.
dead limbs, fell down right in front of a unit. Thank goodness the people were out of town.
Yeah,
Down
yeah.
to 100s. Is it 1s or 2s? Once.
Really?
Right down the front sidewalk.
Which one
About,
did you say? Miller?
Yeah, Miller's.
Oh, they're not there.
yeah, they're not there,
Yeah.
but right down on their sidewalk. It's about 5 or 6 limbs.
Yeah,
She said
royals and
Sunday.
dates are, I mean, they're non-native to Florida. They're not supposed to be here, and they do get too tall for our environment.
But that was a queen, I think.
Or
Yeah.
Queens and Palms, or yeah, Queens and Royals.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany.
But anyways, yeah, so they shouldn't be a safety issue, the Canary Islands, and hopefully it'll help improve the aesthetics to make them more green.
Oh, by the way, there's a coconut ready to fall with the tree at 293.
Coconut.
Yeah, it's a coconut palm out in the front next to the banana trees. But I was just there last night with Max and I was afraid that that thing was gonna fall down and hit me on the
Take a
head.
look at it, yeah. Okay. I didn't realize we had.
I
a
It's
look
a-
up every time I come out my front sidewalk.
It's a good sized coconut too, so maybe Jack wants to get that down.
Coconut on the end.
That was the first one
Okay,
I've seen.
all right, so that'll, you already have the motion.
Yeah, I've got the
right?
motion.
Okay, so we're good to go. All right, very good. New business, communication.
There'll be a couple letters you'll be getting in the manager's report that we sent out to people.
Wind mitigation?
Wind mitigation, our last wind mitigation study was completed in June of 2018.
Whoa,
They have 5-year lives.
guess what?
So it's time to have another wind mit study performed so we can do what we can to keep the control of insurance prices or what they could be. I've contacted Don Myler and Associates and they haven't gotten back to me yet, but they will. They've done it before. It should help us with the price because they've got everything here.
How much do they run?
I think the last time was about $4,000. So I'll have the price probably by Monday, so we can okay it, but we should.
Hey, John,
Yeah.
if I could add something to that, I just, as of the end of June 12th, I lost my insurance through a company I was with. They're pulling out of Florida.
Mhm.
I had to go to another company. They did want a wind mitigation report, which we had, but it was about to expire. It was at the end of its 5 years. So anybody right now, they're going to be in a period where they're not going to be able to use that, and they're going to get hit with
But I'll do respect that the agents are still accepting it.
Yeah.
You may get an individual company that says it's expired, but people are getting approved daily.
Oh, really? Well, okay. Mine wouldn't.
Okay, yeah. No, we just had 3 here yesterday that got approved.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm not challenging what you're saying, but you're right. It has to be done.
Right.
How long does that usually take him to do it?
Couple weeks.
Okay, so we'll
They
get,
actually contacted him in January and he said, don't wait. I mean, he just, he said to hold off on it because, so
okay, all right, so hopefully you'll have something on that.
I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. That's what C is there. It's a blank. Is there anything that anybody wants to add?
I thought there was talk of reenacting an employee relations committee. Does that need to be an agenda item?
I think so.
Well, not reenacting, I mean, there is one, it's just not, it doesn't have any
Yeah,
stand for.
updated.
Roger left us, huh?
Where did he go?
Where's Roger?
You're gone.
Well, that was Roger's.
I couldn't find anything in the draft. I thought I had the original operations manual, but I don't. It must have been the first revision that when Claire was
Who else is
finishing it.
working
So I
on
don't have what the page used to say or anything like that.
I don't have a copy of that either.
There you are.
Yeah, I'm here. I just was on mute.
Maybe Cynthia has
I
something.
may have
older.
a work copy. of all
I
that
think
effort.
Leslie, are you with us?
Yeah, she turned it back over to,
Unmute, Leslie.
she couldn't make heads or tails.
Oh, okay.
Leslie.
Leslie.
Yeah,
Oh, she found the page.
I have many copies of
Yeah, I had 2 copies
iterations,
and I
But they
gave them to
were
her and
revisions.
she just,
and I do have something about an employee relations committee, but it's not complete. And I thought it was odd to have injected it into the operations manual.
Well, that was the discussions I recall, Dick, that it was gonna go into the employees manual and come out of the operations manual.
That's correct.
So it was supposed to come out of the operations manual and go into the employee manual that still hasn't been worked on.
Okay, but the board's not voted for the revisions to the operations manual. So for now, it doesn't really matter which manual you're putting it in. It
Needs to be-
technically exists, it just needs to be staffed and the committee had appointed, right? Is that,
I think that's my understanding.
okay,
How do we get that off dead center? I mean, it's been sitting around for a year and a half now. 3 or 4 of us who were on the committee. Is it because it needs to be retyped? I mean, what is the problem?
How about, my suggestion would be to reconstitute a meeting of those interested. Obviously Claire, who was chair, is not on the board anymore and has gone on to other functions. Why don't we just call a meeting and those who are interested, put it together and get, that's the only way we're gonna get it off, in my opinion.
I'd be interested.
Yeah.
I would do. Leslie will too, right, Leslie?
Oh, absolutely, if I'm here.
But she's
Or
going
if
on.
No, but I'll be available, because I have so many versions, it's.
Yeah, there's a lot of versions, and I don't know if anybody other than maybe Claire would have the original that was started from.
It might be here.
Well, I can also get with Claire easily to see if she has anything.
I'll see if I can put together all my stuff into a
Yeah.
package.
Set a
Because
date.
We made a lot of modifications. We're actually at the point where the board had reviewed everything and agreed on, we thought, everything. And then there was, and then there were some concerns about some modifications and some spelling errors and things like that, and it just all stopped.
It was
right at
pulled
that
from the
time.
vote for that.
So it never came to a vote
Yeah.
to the board. It was just sent out for review. And that's,
It wasn't, I don't think it was,
That's-
I remember it wasn't pre-compiled right
that is
after.
correct.
yeah.
I just
Sure,
would
yeah.
suggest that on Monday, we set a meeting date for those who are interested to pick it up and go with it.
Yeah, so is that 2 agenda items then?
Well, the agenda to, we could say, call a, schedule a operations manual meeting.
Okay, and then another item to staff and employee relations, look for volunteers for employee.
Well, that's
relations
not,
committee.
how is it even set up? We don't, it's not in the operations now.
It's in the original.
Technically, it
Yeah.
is still in the
Still, is it
operations.
in the original?
It's listed in the index on the website of the whole committee, existing committees.
Well, that's up to the president to appoint committee members.
But that should be an agenda
Sure.
item. Am I missing something here? Mr. President?
Can do that. We'll put it on there if you want.
Okay.
If you want to form an employee relations committee, or not form, but
Staff.
Reestablish
Staff.
the staff.
And
staff,
appoint,
appoint chairman.
right, and staff.
Usually the chairman then appoints the committee members.
Okay.
So you would have to find somebody to head this committee up and then let them run.
How about that lady
Do
right
we
there?
have a need for that?
Yes.
Why? I mean, we've got a manager to handle.
There's
that.
an issue right now that we need.
What's the issue?
That's
So we
not an
can, let's all
employee,
hear it.
that's-
Roger?
I'm prepared to address that.
Okay. Very good.
It's an uncomfortable situation. I don't know, most of you don't know a lot about me, but I do not like any kind of confrontation. But I'm in the middle of an issue, and we can't discuss it in this meeting.
No.
Why
It's
not?
Because it involves personnel.
I'm the personnel that's involved, and I say it can be open.
Yes, it should be open.
Where in the world are you, I mean, why does, I mean,
There's a
here's the
board.
thing, well, excuse me, please. Everybody doesn't know what it is, but I've been accused of being, what's the word? Rude and obnoxious to an owner, okay? Who
Well,
wants
you
me.
are sometimes, so what?
I was, and let me just speak, it's the first time I've had a chance to speak with this, okay? Apparently, a number of other people contacted this owner and had a conversation and is proposing a meeting to handle this situation.
Just real quick, can I correct you?
Yeah.
None of us approached the owner. The owner
Approached
approached
them.
all of us.
Okay, all right, fine, okay. And I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with any of it. All I want to do is say, number one, I've been in this business since 1991. When my company was in business, we had over 5,000 units. I've been with you for 10 years, and I've never had a complaint against me for rude and obnoxious behavior. Never. That's number one. If my reputation doesn't stand and say, hey, we don't believe you, lady, that's up to you all. But I had witnesses with me, i.e. Steve was with me on one occasion and Stephen Cookie on another occasion, and they both say nothing happened. I didn't do it. So my question is, if you can't take it by my reputation, you can't take it from your fellow board members, this thing should go away.
I think the whole point, my understanding is the whole point is an owner felt they were treated unfairly. And so it's this is just a mechanism to let their voice be heard and from impartial people who are not board members. And then whatever decisions or outcomes from that, it's not saying it's,
Nothing happened though.
Yeah.
I wasn't there.
He was?
I'm just telling you what the mechanism is, what the purpose of an employee relations.
Oh, and I'm not saying we shouldn't have a committee. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying this is an instance that doesn't belong to go there. That's all I'm saying. Listen, I'm for it 100%. I'm not saying we shouldn't have a committee. I'm not sure, but this particular instance didn't happen. And for us to have a full-blown secret meeting that the owners say, oh, what the heck did the manager do now?
Yeah. But, okay, maybe that will be the outcome of the employee relations committee, that it doesn't belong in front of them or whatever, but it's a mechanism for the owner to be heard otherwise.
Why do we need a committee to make a decision like that? Why do we need that when we're all board members here? We're all one.
Because you have.
Why are you angry? It's
Because
the owner
it's
that
pissing you
has
off that
the
you're
issue.
showing disrespect to
It's
you,
not
to the business
disrespect.
manager. Yes, it is.
No, it's
When you
not.
disagree with him and think that he is the problem. He's not the problem.
No one's saying
No
that's the
one's
problem.
saying
No,
that.
you're not saying it. But I'm reading past that.
Well, don't
When you
pass
form
it.
your own meeting with individuals, separate, you're not letting all of us know or in.
I mean, Barbara,
I have a problem here.
What?
I see that we've got two different things going on. We've got the issue of having committee, and we have the concern that's being addressed by John.
Right.
The problem that I have with this is, I think this is potentially a personnel matter. It should not be in an open public meeting. We should be doing this in a private meeting, and anything that's on this right now is inappropriate.
Correct.
And beyond that, I think we're making a mistake having this conversation in an open meeting, but it should be a closed
absolutely
meeting.
correct.
I agree. I agree.
Agreed.
Well, the only reason I disagree with you, Richard, is because of the fact it's an incident that didn't happen.
Well, I think that would immediately be taken care of in terms of the conversation, and then that would go into an open meeting for an open conversation.
Listen, I'll do whatever the board wants to do. I just don't think it's right. So,
Obviously, I would be disturbed as you are about a situation like that, because when any of us are in leadership positions, there are accusations that come that need to be handled appropriately. So we're talking about one thing, which is a committee that's separate from the issue that we're talking about right at the moment.
Yeah.
I think if we had a committee, I wouldn't want this going into that particular area because John works for us.
That's right.
We're the committee. And we should have this discussion, whatever happens, whether it's yes, no, or in between or anything else. It's going to be our decision, no matter what the committee sees. And I think that's just another bump in the road. So if we have an issue like that, I think it goes right directly to us. But I do agree with Dick. I think it should be somewhere in an area where we're not dealing with people and faces in a public way. We can deal with that together as a committee and then come back and, or as a board, and come back and say what we feel. If there is anything.
Should the committee be board members or should the committee be outside?
We don't need a board. What do we need a committee for? We're the committee.
Yeah.
You work for us. Sure.
I disagree there. I
Well,
think
we
they
had
should
a
be
committee
more,
many years
they should
ago.
be non-board members.
We did have
But we're voted in by
a
non-board
committee.
members. And
I'm
so
trying to remember her name. It was a short, young woman.
just passed away. Just passed away.
Had big
Marie
glasses.
Gaziani.
Yeah, she was the chairman of that committee, so we had one. Well, it's just.
Thank you very much. Well, I'm sure my problem is I just don't understand the need for a committee, whether it's people that aren't even living here. It doesn't matter. We are the elected people by those members of our community, and so therefore we make these decisions about what should be done, and what shouldn't be done, and who should be fined and who shouldn't be fined. If there's an issue with management, it comes through us because he works for us. He
Based
doesn't
on,
work for
and it
them.
could be based on recommendations from committees that get into more of the details of
They
it.
still would bring it to us.
Correct. Well, that's the point of forming, reestablishing, staffing the employee
But that
relations.
would be something we just put on this list right here.
And Roger, do you want to add anything to this?
I think it ends with us as a board. I hear what Dick is saying. I agree with that. And John West. I think we just need to decide, do we continue our discussion today or do we schedule a closed meeting?
Why was this issue even brought up? She's an owner. Why is it?
Because the owner came to 3 board members and asked us to make a decision. And we can't do that as individuals. We can only do it as a board.
Then why did you have your meeting?
What meeting?
Did you have a meeting to get together? There were certain people that were allowed in that meeting. Why
There
wasn't
were-
the meeting?
There were 3 of us that were contacted.
Why?
We don't know why we were chosen.
What does she want to do anyway, or he? What do they want to do?
Cannot really discuss it until
She
we
wants
hear
you
from
terminated.
her.
That's the answer.
Terminated. You have one person out of 500 something units
No,
against
no,
this
wait a
gentleman.
second. No, wait, that's
Yeah.
his feelings
Bullshit.
on it. You haven't heard her feelings
I
on
think
it.
she was part of
Before-
the, she was involved in it.
What? You?
Yeah, she,
I was a witness to it. Yeah, I was standing there.
Yeah.
And you got to call me a liar now?
No,
I was
No,
there.
please,
I-
everybody.
No,
Calm
this is
down,
why it needs
calm
to
down.
Please,
shut
please,
down.
I
please.
think
This is the reason why you need to have some small group that has, just get it out, to be able to deal with the facts and get it out of the way. And it will be a
That
place where
committee.
anybody can take something to bring to the board and it gets evaluated.
Well, it should be. The committee should be. Truly.
Well, why wouldn't they just us talking about it here?
Exactly.
I mean, if there's a problem with him, there's a
Well,
problem with us.
you could be, but he's also requesting that we have a closed meeting.
See, in
And
my,
this is not a closed meeting right now.
No, you're
Here
right.
again.
I mean, it's out on the internet.
we're talking about, I am talking now, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Mark. I didn't mean it that way.
Sorry, Ron.
If we'd have operated with this way that everything has been in the past, we wouldn't wouldn't be to this position. If this lady came to a board member, to me, the policy would have been, please come to a workshop or a board meeting and not have a private phone call. I think the private phone call put this in a whole different ballgame.
Yep.
Whole different ballgame.
Right.
And it should have never happened.
Okay.
So a committee
But
wouldn't help that.
if the committee members contacted, said, okay, we got an issue here, we'll entertain you,
So that
we'll
we as
put
a
you on
board
the
can
agenda,
decide
we'll
how
do
we're
anything
gonna
you want.
operate.
Yeah.
And we can tell everybody on this board that, listen, we don't get involved in private phone calls for things like this.
So I come back.
What was that last statement that Marv made? We don't get involved in what?
In private phone calls like this, if we're gonna have a discussion, we should automatically take it
It
to
should
the
be out
board.
here, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Okay. So if somebody calls me and complains about something, I'm gonna say, come on, we'll go to the board and talk about it.
A workshop, the whole dog on
Yeah.
anytime you want.
2 times a month.
Here again. I agree 1,000% there should be an employee relations committee, 100% behind it, okay? Number 2, if it was someone complaining about my actions and it was simply there, it would be a he said, she said condition, and it would be certainly up for discussion in depth. In this particular case, in the beginning of the conversation, Steve and I were together. He heard everything that was said. Secondarily, we went on our rounds, which we do almost daily. We happened to be up in Pinehurst. Cookie was out there. The lady called me again, and I put her on the speaker because she was let's just say she was upset, okay? And she was accusing, and she was wanting termination, and she was wanting everything else. And here again, Cookie was there that time. Steve was there that time. It's non-instant. It didn't happen. I wasn't rude to him. I wasn't. Simple as that.
Steve, did you hear anything that he did that was wrong?
No, absolutely.
Cookie, did you hear anything he did that was wrong?
She threw the threats.
Okay. Then, as far as I'm concerned, I don't care about the damn thing.
Yeah. It shouldn't be brought to this meeting. It's another person living here.
Yeah.
Complaining. That's what the issue is. And all of you are deciding on his reputation over here. Oh, I'm so disappointed in, because this guy has done a great job working here.
We're not, all we're doing is having.
Not all of you.
We have a
Thank you.
customer.
Thank you. Let's keep it.
Excuse me just a minute, just a business. We have a customer complaint.
No.
Yes. We have a customer complaint.
Mhm.
That's what we have. We've now heard the complaint. We had people who were there and said, it's not a valid complaint. Okay, I'm done.
And so let me break, I mean, just coming from the mediation panels in my work experience, people get so frustrated by another situation that maybe has not been addressed, or it is, or the timing of it, and they're so frustrated, then they start lashing out. You know, I'm not making excuses for anybody, but I don't know that we know the full story. And is that what needs to be heard by the employee relations, committee? So however the board agrees they want to handle it, that's fine. I'll support
So
that.
you're talking about the future.
No. we're talking
Yeah,
about
well, you are. You're
situation,
talking about the
actually.
future. What do you do with the next one?
Well, what do we
That's
do with
why
this
you
one?
have
and what do
a
you do
peer
with the next
Well,
one?
that's my point. I'm ready to deal with this one. This one's over.
Yeah.
Wait a minute,
It could be
wait a minute.
No,
You
let me
haven't
finish.
read-
No, hold
the
it.
issue. You
You're
haven't heard
interrupting
those
me. Let me just finish.
There's
Let me-
2 stories.
Let me finish. As far as I'm concerned, I've heard enough that it's over. It doesn't have to be over. It's just, it's okay. I got a customer complaint and I got enough people who I trust telling me it's not a real complaint. So now we need to have a process of how we're going to handle these in the future. Or this one and in the future. That's what you're really saying. There's no process here.
Right,
When you
that we
look
can
at,
all agree on, because we are 15-member board, so we have to agree on something.
when we look at the organization chart, if we had a problem with Pete, who's cutting something wrong or swearing at the homeowners, etc., that employee would be reported. And it would come to John, and John would take care of it, because he runs the doggone employees in our
He isn't
organization.
an employee.
When the employee is John, they come to us and he works for us. So we would handle the situation. No outside committee. I don't care who it is. Come tell us your story and we in essence will make a decision what happened. We represent every owner out there. We were voted into office. There is no need for an outside source because we are that outside source. Rather than having 554 people sitting here, we have 15 of us.
We could choose to have a subcommittee of the board that deals with this
If
and
we
brings it to
needed
the
to,
board.
I think it only makes it difficult.
I think there is a place for it.
There has to be some place
Well,
that they
besides
know they
You
go.
think so?
Yeah, I do.
It has to
There
be-
was a time, and stop me if I'm wrong, when there was somebody here who was dealt with inter-unit problems or something like that. He was, I forget a name, the committee had a name, was one person, and he no longer lives here. But I think he told me he had one case in 10 years or something like that.
I've been here 13 years, and we have never had that before.
No. And that is not
I think you may have
recommended.
been referring to Alfredo. who did-
Alfredo,
Yeah,
yeah.
Alfredo was on the grievance committee,
Grievance, something.
which is for rule violations.
Okay,
not
so,
this
but my
situation.
point is that works the same way. That could work the same way.
I agree.
Well,
I think we have, again, I go back to what I said a few minutes, we have two different issues here. One is the future and one is the present. I think that we can make a decision on the future on Monday, but I think we need to resolve the current issue ASAP. I don't think that can be sitting around for the next week, 2 weeks, or 3 weeks instead of committee. Two different issues. And I'm with you. I think that we can't actually vote on anything like this today. But the position is I support John. And
Leslie, I know is not on the board, but she's been waving her hand. Do we want her to share a comment or not?
Yes, please.
Yes, please. Go ahead, Leslie.
You're muted,
Unmute.
Leslie.
Unmute, Leslie.
As some of you know, or some people on the board have pointed out, I was a union labor lawyer and I represented unionized employees, 125,000 in New York City. And there's a big distinction between employees and management in my experience. And John Haggerty may be, he is not an employee. He is the manager. And his employment has always been dealt with exclusively by the board of directors. And this case coming and being recorded makes it just so out of bounds to me. And I'm always for the employee. And in this case, I'm always for the manager. But this is ludicrous. If you have this incident where there are witnesses vouching that it never happened, I mean, what are we talking about? If you want to have an employee relations committee that is unnecessary as long as John Haggerty is here, go ahead, but leave the manager alone.
I agree with you, Leslie. I agree.
I'm in agreement.
right,
well, I think that we should have personally, I don't see any need for this committee, and I would like to see us have a motion saying that committee is us no matter what. And so we can define this. If the person has a problem, there's the audience right there, and come to us at the workshop. We'll discuss it until 2 days from now and come up with a conclusion. But to have some other committee being involved with something, come back and tell us what they heard is kind of a waste of our time and energy. And frankly, it doesn't come directly to the owners' representatives. right here.
No.
This person should have contacted all of us.
Absolutely, right there.
Yeah.
And if she's
Not
not in the
individual,
office and fine, or in the meeting, fine, then you can come in and testify too. But we're the judge and jury right here. Anyway, so let's put that on the agenda for a vote. Fancier, if you will.
But does somebody have to get back to this person and say, hey,
Yes, I do. And
Go, Roger.
in lieu of this, I guess we have witnesses that this is not the case, and we have to end it at that and go from there.
So should that be coming from the president along with all the board members?
Well,
Mm,
put Roger in charge of it because I'm one of the witnesses. And that would,
Steve is one of the witnesses. He's also, yeah.
Yeah.
He was lumped into this accusation.
so Roger, you prepared to do that?
Yes. If that's what this board is saying to do, absolutely. I'm part of this board, and this board is the governing body.
You can do that. You could, you're published, you can vote on something here. Because you've got a published meeting that's being recorded.
So basically, we're still talking about the issue, not faces, and I think that's important when we're dealing with this, because we don't know who the other person is. And we can say, we're talking about principle and the process, not an individual case in this particular place. So if we say, we don't need that committee, we'll make the decision here. The issue is still up in the air.
The committee situation should go on Monday. If you're gonna vote to have Roger contact the owner, that can be done here.
so a motion just needs to be made.
So I make a motion
For
that
what?
Roger
That's right.
will contact the owner and tell him what the board decided.
And let's have a board.
Can I just ask a question before you do the vote? Whenever, like I said before, usually there's something that the owner was unhappy with. Has that been resolved? Because this is two party. One is
Resolved in 2 days,
it's all, oh, okay.
was resolved immediately.
Okay.
Without getting into names or anything like that, the main situation, just so everybody understands. Steve and I were gonna go about our rounds, and we got a call that there's filth in front of this person's unit. We went there and there was some dirt, skim dirt on
The guys had just trimmed the bushes.
The guys hadn't
They
finished.
trim, they rake, and then they go back and they blow. It hadn't been blown when when the person came home from work, and she called and said, this is totally unacceptable. I'm tracking dirt into my house.
Take your shoes off.
Wipe your feet.
Don't be
But,
like that.
I mean, I suggest that it's totally unacceptable that my walk isn't clean, and this is horrible, and it's just, she was going on. So we immediately jumped on the cart, we drove right over there, and we looked at it, and it's like they always do. They trim, they rake, and then they come back and blow. Yes, there was a little bit of debris on her sidewalk. Well, we started to pull by. We were gonna go right over because we saw Alfredo right over in the next cluster. And we were gonna go get him and tell him, you know, come over here and take this off. Well, we got screamed at, and so we stopped. There was a comment made by the person that you're always riding around looking sloppy, smoking those nasty cigars. And that's when we pulled off and we went over to get Alfredo. We went over there, told Alfredo to stop what he was doing, get his blower and go back and blow that off, which he did. And we sat there and watched while he did the whole cluster. And then we were proceeding to leave again, and then she started in again. About a
But
couple
she
little
stopped, yeah.
step spots on her step that were sap was starting to come back through from the heat. John said, I'll have Jim over here on Tuesday. Take care of it, Jim. This is Friday afternoon at 3:30. 3 o'clock. Jim was off for a family reunion over the weekend, Friday and Monday. So he'll be over here Tuesday morning. Take care of it. These two spots were about that big around. I got a picture of them. But they could easily be walked on. And she started saying, well, if I slip and fall, I'm going to sue you. And John said, please don't fall, as we were leaving. And that was what she thought was the obnoxious comment when he said that. And he said it sincerely. He did not say it obnoxiously as she took it. And we left, and then we went down, and we were down in Pinehurst, and she called again, said she had talked to code enforcement. They're coming out to check her steps. If you know, you might have to replace my steps. And at that point, we said, well, let's hope not, because the wood is on back order to the stairs, because we usually have some, but Jim had used them. And that's when she was going on in front of Cookie. And, she said, well, I'm going to get a hold of the board. And John said, well, there's a couple of board members right here. You've already got a hold of them. So she got more upset. That's when that conversation ended. That's basically what happened.
And I totally agree with the comment that you made earlier. You don't know what happened to that person during the workday or whatever in her life, and she happened
She
to
just
take
came
it
home
out
from work.
on John.
Clearly did not have.
But that's, you know what? Because we all get upset and we all do things. That doesn't mean we all have to get involved.
If I may say one more thing, the stair issue, and part of her conversation was it took us a long time to fix her stair issue in the beginning. Well, in the beginning, this is the second time there's been a stair issue, but this one had not been reported. Let me start with that.
Yeah, this one had not even been reported.
You know, we didn't have a work order on her, and didn't even know about it. Previously, she'd had 3 stairs that had weeping sap, and she contends it took a year to take care of it. Well, I'm not going to say it didn't take a year. I'm going to say it took an extended period of time because we didn't really know how to deal with it. We tried to dry it out.
That is in the minutes.
Yes, yeah.
That is in the minutes.
We tried to dry it out. We tried to do a lot of things, so it just took a long period of time. Yeah, but now we know how to do it with it, and Jim fixed it too. But we kept hearing, well, it's going to take a while. I'm saying more.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, it's good to hear the whole story,
Yeah.
at least from,
Yeah.
so I agree totally with that there is probably other extenuating things. on
There
your
usually
side.
is that?
Yes, but coming from a mediation panel, absolutely, there always is.
But I can't see that we couldn't have done just that, and this thing could have been mediated about that fast without having
Or
another committee.
diffused, yeah, she misunderstood what he said.
You know what? It's not misunderstanding, it's the interpretation.
It's
Yeah, she interpreted because she was in that mindset, that being wrong, and when he said, don't fall.
So
right.
that's not
here.
I mean, I think we just have the advantage of hearing this side of
Yeah.
the story.
But she
Roger-
still deserves an opportunity to.
What Roger is trying to do would be to keep it not private, but invasion of privacy in a situation that needed to be de-escalated so that it didn't blow up, okay? And that's why he was talking to her, and the other people that were involved with it just happened to be, those are the people that she had called. Roger wanted to know the whole situation. He listened to her situation. He wanted to have a private meeting with hearing the board, hearing her side of it, hearing John's side of it, and then the board making a decision and going from there. It wasn't accusing, it was giving fair 30 minutes to hear both sides of the situation and then going from it. It's not saying John is totally wrong because she said he's totally wrong. We're not saying she is totally wrong because she spouted off. It was to de-escalate the whole situation. That's all it was. That's all it is. Sometimes you can just hear somebody out and then find their reasoning for it, okay? Yes, there was a situation 6 months ago or it was a year ago when the stairs sat because of the heat last year at this time. And there is board minutes showing that, yes, we tried sanding it down. That didn't work. Yes, we tried painting it or using a heat gun on it. That didn't work. Finally, John talked to, how many different people trying to find different ways of remediating the sap issue. Finally, they ended up using cement paint, but that was almost 2 months, 3 months that took place. And so now the situation is occurring again, okay? But there were other issues involved with it. And that's all we wanted to hear is all the sides of it. And then go from there. Not saying that she's right, not saying she's wrong, not saying John is wrong. But there's just more to it. And
But it started with the dirt. The
Yeah,
stairs
but
was
the
totally
stairs.
secondary
Yeah.
to this whole problem.
Yeah.
And that was, I think she noticed it because she was just standing there. And I say screaming, and I do mean that. And she was looking right down at the stairs, so then she noticed the 2 little spots. So then the stairs came up, but the whole thing was all initiated with a little bit of dirt on the sidewalk, which we all, when they trim, your sidewalk is always dirty for
But
an
I have
hour.
to say, I understood it better, why it was staying there longer, once I heard 2 people were out.
exactly.
Like, there was something different about the routine that, wasn't aware of, so.
Right.
I get it, I now have a blower, and
Well,
don't do it myself.
Well,
Right.
we did have an error because what happened, because we did have a couple people out. They extended the work without completing. 3:30 came and they cut more than they should have, and they left it. And that was totally
No,
unsafe.
that was
That was
That was
brought
wrong.
up.
That was a 250.
That was
Yeah.
brought up at a meeting
245.
Yeah, I
2
know.
meetings ago
Yeah,
too,
sure.
and you took care of
Yeah,
that.
but we changed that, and so that wasn't really left over the weekend, but we did have that issue. We want to have that issue, so it just had to do a little bit less work and clean up after themselves. Now we got to be back, and things are going to be much better. Eddie's gone 6 weeks.
How's this mom?
So we've discussed this for how long now?
Yeah, it's too long.
And given it lots of attention. Have we done enough? Roger, have we done enough now?
No, I think we should fire John. How's that? It's ridiculous. What do you want to do? You want to fine him? I don't understand. She's the one that was belligerent, from what I understand.
And she was personally derogatory.
Yes.
You never
So
did
I
that.
mean, what do you want? Let her come to the board. Let her come to a board meeting.
Yeah.
And we'll ask her what she recommends we do.
She's welcome to come to any other can come to any board meeting, right?
I
That's
do
right.
have one comment, and it's just that, not specifically, anyways, because she has an issue with people who would be at that meeting, it makes sense that we could provide, like Roger was saying, a space where she can feel comfortable airing her grievances, not in front of the people that she's talking about. And I feel like that's something that happens in HR for companies. If you have a problem with a person, you can talk to an HR representative, and they're sort of the impartial mediator. So I see the purpose of having a committee or a meeting or something to give this woman the opportunity to tell her side of the story and for us to listen openly.
Hasn't she already done that?
She did that with.
Yeah, no.
Ron.
Well,
She can come here.
she's told a few
She's aired
people, but
that,
she hasn't
she's
told
already
all
aired
of us.
that to a board member who we have vested the opportunity to close the door on this.
Mhm.
In other words, I hear what you're saying, but she's already vetted her information to a board member. That board member has responded to us and we have reacted.
But
It's not like she hasn't had a voice in this because.
But Roger hasn't told us what she said. We're just going off of what the people in this room know, and it's just.
At this point, I don't care what John said. I think we should just put this matter to bed. I think this is ridiculous.
I told you.
Somebody want to make a motion?
I do.
Put it to bed.
I thought there was a motion for Roger to contact her.
And tell her that we
Tell her
have
to-
agreed that this is this issue is closed. Not say non-issue because that will fuel her even more to say
Well, I
we
think
have
the idea
discussed
is
it.
to do it in a
Yeah.
manner that de-escalates
Yeah.
the situation.
Oh, absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely. That's the last thing we want.
That we've discussed it at length and we decided to put it to rest.
Yes.
It's closed.
I think we can be a little more gentle than that, but
Okay.
specifically, we can.
Don't abuse our employees. Tell her that.
Yeah.
Or our president.
Yeah, I know.
We've taken the
Can we ask
situation
Roger
under
a question?
advisement and feel that it's been handled and it's done.
Yeah.
Roger,
Question, Roger.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
is there anything that you feel that we as a board need to know more about what she reported to you directly?
Yeah, there is one more thing. And I know Steve was with John on the golf cart. He was there. There were two of them. And he witnessed that. What happened later in the day with the phone call was that Steve was there, and I understand Cookie was there, and this lady was not advised that she was on a speakerphone, which is an illegal action. So I think we just need to be careful about speakerphones going forward. I think Steve was entitled because he was engaged in the initial process.
Sure.
So
Guys,
that's,
tell people they're on a speakerphone next time.
that's my position there.
Permission doing that, and I apologize to her because I said I
And
did.
we take you to task for that.
Yes, you did. You,
Oh, yeah.
I did.
If you have an
Steve.
iPhone, have
Yeah.
it running and
We're not-
record the whole thing.
Roger, right.
again, needs to be, if we're doing that with anything, we do need to make sure that the person we're talking to knows it. But in this case, Steve, it was a part of the original conversation, and I see no reason why he could not be a part of the whole thing. So I will do exactly what you vote on.
Just be gentle.
Do the best I can.
Do we need to vote on that or?
No. Right, we suggested that he could put it to rest. I motioned that he's the person
Well,
to talk to her gently.
so the issues that started all this have been resolved.
Pretty much, yes.
And so now but that's number one.
Can we finish the motion? We didn't,
Yeah.
we didn't do the motion.
Well, I want to get to what should the motion be?
Yeah.
I mean,
I thought the motion was to ask Roger to go ahead and finish this up.
As we all agree.
That we as a committee and
Yeah.
or the board.
I didn't think you could make a motion at a workshop.
Yeah, duly published motion can be made at a workshop for something like this, Chris. Yes, it can.
Okay,
If we didn't publicize it, it'd be different.
okay.
well,
What exactly is the wording of the motion?
well, I would like it to be in there that, let's just phrase this, don't take me literally yet. That hearing the story from the witnesses and hearing anything Roger wanted to add to that, having
Right.
spoken to the woman directly, the initial safety issue has been resolved. In the best that it could have been at the time. And beyond that, we don't see
Any need
beyond that, the board feels that the issue has been resolved.
has been resolved.
I think that's the bottom line right
That's
there.
it. That's
And
it.
I guess maybe add that the situation with the speakerphone, John apologized for that.
I
And
did.
going forward, that will just be in terms of an etiquette of letting people know.
Absolutely.
Done.
Is that,
Very good.
You want a roll call vote on that?
I think we need to write.
Yeah.
He's trying to write. it down.
How am I gonna write what you just said?
Somebody, oh wait, you recorded
That
it.
was one
Can you play that back?
sentence.
Chris Perry, can you
Well,
play that
Roger's going to
back?
write the letter. I mean, number one, I think that what you said was that first and foremost, the board had a complete discussion on the matter.
Right.
Okay.
Including conversations with Roger, who had direct contact with the owner, and witnesses who were with there and witnessed it. Number to all safety issues resolving as far as the stairs or any dirt for slippage or anything like that was handled.
And the dirt debris.
The dirt debris was handled immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately, and the stairs were done 3 days later as promised to her specifications. And therefore, the board feels that the incident is closed or handled, however you want to put it, Roger.
Yeah, I would say handled.
Addressed.
Addressed, that's a good word.
That's a good one.
And that the issue with the speakerphone,
Well, I apologize right then and there.
the managers
But,
apologized.
the manager will, in the
forward.
future, not forget to warn
To
people
warn people, yeah.
that he's on the phone.
Inform people.
That's
Not a
right.
warning, it's an inform.
Yeah, inform.
Did somebody write that down?
Roger is.
This
Okay.
is actually
Yeah.
recorded.
I'm writing,
Yeah, it's recorded.
The other question or thing I think is we should leave that.
Okay.
We should put the meeting on Monday. Not saying what happened, the issue in regards to one of our owners and their concern about an immediate issue of cleanliness and a safety issue was handled by the board and resolved.
Do
I
that.
don't think you have to just bring it up again and wait for a minute.
Yeah, I don't
We
think.
can
we
vote
do.
here, we're voted here.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we're not
And-
voting
It
again.
hasn't been published anyway, so therefore. Good. All right, I'm clear.
We good? You get the wording, Roger? Do we need a
I-
vote?
I think so.
You want to read it back? Can you read it back just to be sure?
Nope. I'll have you read it to me. Or can somebody just you write it down, Barb?
It's all, it's recorded.
How about if I record it? Did you record it? No. Oh,
It's on the-
All right, let's
It is
let's
being
do this.
recorded.
I'm sorry.
This is recorded.
Yeah.
The board,
Barb, since you're in the room, can you write it down and email it to me?
I'm, okay,
Yeah, she's writing it down.
okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
we're voting on it now, it has to be written out, okay? So just give me a moment, all right,
Okay.
as I verbalize this again. Okay. The board has
Discussed it.
discussed the, an owner's
Complaint.
complaint,
Concern.
Should we call it a complaint?
complaint and issue.
I know.
Well, the owner made a complaint, you're right. I mean,
The board has discussed an owner's complaint and issue as represented by Roger Schultz.
Yeah.
In addition, oh, okay.
And further,
Discussed
the
owner's complaint and issues
situation
represented by
is resolved.
Rogers, and in addition, we heard from witnesses. Present. In those situations.
The owner's issues have been resolved. One immediately, one in 2 days.
Okay, the board has determined that the owner's stair and dirt issues. Be specific. Okay, because if there's others, then we don't know about them. Okay, the board has determined that the owner's stairs and dirt issues were immediately resolved. Or were addressed, okay, were addressed. In the best possible time, I mean, obviously because Jim was out, couldn't be done until Tuesday. Okay, so we're addressed. Most efficient.
This was a
And
Friday at 3:30, so
Yeah.
it's 2 days. It's kind of a normal turnaround for service work anyway.
Okay. Were addressed in the
Timely manner.
in a timely manner, okay. Timely. T-I-M-E-L-I.
Yeah.
And I do Wordle every day. Okay, The board is determined that the owner's stairs and dirt issues were addressed in a timely manner.
Issue resolved.
Wait, okay, as to use of the speakerphone with others present, I don't know if I'm saying this right, throw words out if I'm not phrasing this correct.
Yeah, it sounds good so far.
Um,
The manager has apologized to the resident and agreed
to presence, the manager had apologized immediately or at
At the time.
the time. And just a new sentence, okay, at the time, going forward. What are your words there, John? Going forward, the manager will,
We'll remember to inform.
I'll just put will inform.
Yeah.
Will inform
Went on
the caller
Went on
Caller.
Yeah.
when on speakerphone.
When on speakerphone.
I'll read this
Or
one.
by placing on speakerphone. Before placing on speakerphone. maybe.
Yeah.
John, do you record your phone calls?
No, I do not.
Right,
Okay.
okay. Never mind. You weren't recording anything. It was on speakerphone by accident.
Well, it really was on when, it just happened to be on.
Right,
And
right, right.
What
No,
happened?
no, no, you weren't recording anyone.
Oh, no.
Okay,
It
well,
was on.
legally, I don't know what the standing is, if you accidentally.
No, I was not recording the conversation, and that's certainly required. That I understand.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
inadvertent, but, like I said, the basic comment was, I'm gonna tell the board, and I said, well, please, all right, you're doing that right now,
Okay, let me read this. The board has discussed an owner's complaint and issue regarding stairs and dirt as represented by Roger Schultz. In addition, we heard from witnesses present in those
At that time.
At that time.
at that time. The board has determined that the owner's stairs and dirt issues were addressed in a timely manner. As to use of the speakerphones with others present, the manager had apologized at the time. Going forward, the manager will inform the caller, will inform a caller before
Any caller,
placing,
maybe.
any caller. Will inform any caller before placing them on speakerphone.
No recording was.
Yeah, you don't need that.
Why, what's that?
No.
Well, to me, that's what the whole issue's about.
Not in this
It's
situation.
been recorded.
It was just that other people were privy to the call and she didn't know about it. And it's etiquette to let people know that they're on speakerphone.
Yeah, it's etiquette. I
Yeah,
don't think
so
that's
they're
a
not
legal
quite
thing.
as vulgar.
Yeah, I don't think that's a legal thing.
I don't think it's legal either if somebody overheard a conversation. It's a matter of if it was recorded or not.
Yeah.
But I think the motion is great like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
right,
Roger, is
you're-
this, Roger, you've heard what the motion
Yes.
is?
Yes,
Okay.
I heard everything you said, and I'm glad. Don't say anything about recording because it wasn't recorded.
Second the motion.
Wait, I didn't put anything in there about it not being recorded.
No, you don't want, you don't need to say anything.
Okay.
We have a second?
Second.
Second, okay.
Do you want a roll call vote? Or do we?
Is anybody opposed?
Yeah, I'm opposed.
I move that we vote by acclamation.
Okay.
No, you haven't opposed. You have one opposed.
We have one opposed, so. All right, I guess we take a roll call vote then.
I'll take it.
You take it?
Pam's in absence. Okay.
Is there room for still another question on that?
Sure.
Or not?
Oh, do we have
My
to have
question
discussion?
is,
No?
I don't know, I'm just saying, do we need to direct Roger in this motion to take this action or not?
Yes, that's what
That's-
Roger's gonna
Roger.
take this forward.
Okay, so we have to, he's right, we have
That's
to
what I
end
mean,
that
we
with
have to have a
Roger
statement
Schultz
that
was so
we are
informed the
informing
owner
Right,
of this, okay.
So we're giving him the authority
yes.
to
Yes.
take that action.
I'm gonna change, add to the motion.
Okay.
I withdraw the second.
I'm billing by the hour.
of the, Roger Schultz will inform the owner of the board's decision.
Decision, right.
And then if this person has additional complaints, she can bring them to us as a group.
Bring them to us, you can take them to the state. She's got options.
Well, I think Roger can add that to.
Yeah.
When his discussion with her. You know, we don't know if it's really make her happy, she's, you know, so.
And I think, Roger, you can reassure her that nothing was said obnoxiously. She took it that way. That was not the way John said it.
Yeah, I understand.
I hate to drop this all on you.
Well, since she's the one.
Second in command, I guess.
I'm far enough away.
Okay, yeah. I may not ride with you for a couple days past that house.
Yeah. I would just like to say publicly, this in no way will affect any way, manner that I deal with this individual, okay? There's gonna be there's no thought of, there hasn't been any repercussions or any of this.
John, that doesn't have to be stated. We
No.
know that.
All right.
Yeah, we know that.
All right, all right. Okay, we got the motion.
Go read it again?
Well, it's up to the board.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just gonna take, I'll take the vote. I'll do the roll call vote.
Okay, the motion is the board has discussed. Read what I wrote. Oh my God. The board has discussed an owner's complaint and issue regarding stairs and dirt as represented by Roger Schultz. In addition, we heard from witnesses present at that time. The board has determined that the owner's stairs and dirt issues were addressed in a timely manner. As to use of the speakerphone with others present, the manager had apologized at the time. Going forward, the manager will inform any caller before placing them on speakerphone. Roger Schultz will inform the owner of the board's decision.
Not to belabor it. Not to belabor it at all, but Roger, since you're privy to what she has said, was there complaints about my attitude that should be addressed in this motion?
Well, I think Steve touched on it right in the beginning. She felt that you were rude.
Well, I mean, should the motion say that we
discussed that.
We discussed.
We determined that.
All right, I just don't want to bring something up and extend it. Yeah, okay, listen.
And Steve said that right in the beginning.
Yeah.
My opinion is when somebody's very riled up already about
Yeah,
something.
all right,
and-
okay.
So is that a motion on the floor? I second it.
Okay, second.
All right,
All
so
right,
who made the motion?
Barbara.
No,
I
Oh,
don't.
no, that's it.
She just wrote it.
She wrote it.
yeah.
You know, it takes a village to raise a
Okay.
child.
And Marv seconded.
Okay,
All right.
all right, Mr. Picola? Yes or no?
In favor of the motion, yes.
Yes, okay. Barbara?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
John? Tiffany?
Yes.
Steve?
Yes.
Tammy?
Nope.
In Cookie? favor,
yes. Yes.
What happened?
They pushed the button again, I think.
I think so. John, you're not on. John, we can't hear you.
Chris? You want to call the office?
Somebody's just calling me.
Oh.
Hey, what if, Steve, you're off the thing again? Oh. All right. Steve said the battery died on the computer.
Oh, no.
Yes. He's doing the rest of the voting by phone.
Okay.
John's saying it was fully charged when we started the meeting. They're looking for the charging cord now.
Yeah, these laptops
Okay.
don't hold up very well.
Yeah, I keep mine plugged in all the time.
I do too.
All right, just make sure you remind Barbara to please email that to me. And the others weren't there. Okay. Now you're going to adjourn?
I'm still on this meeting, but I'm gonna leave now. I think. It's going on way too long.
What is it?
It's the board workshop.
Oh.
Hello, Jack.
Chris Perry.
Oh, hi, Chris. Who's the guy on the left?
This is Roger Schultz. He lives in Pinehurst. He's the vice president.
Make some lunch.
Chris,
Yes,
do you know who's on the phone? Is that Jan Radden?
it usually is Jan, yeah. Is that you, Jan?
Yes. Oh, good.
Thanks.
Okay. Thank you. Nope. I'm in the middle, so I got to deal with it. All right. All right, I will do. Bye-bye.
Hey,
All right, the meeting has been adjourned.
wait,
Okay.
Roger?
Yes, I let